So I created the most travel time possible for an NFL schedule. Okay? This is the most you can travel in a schedule realistically. So the Eagles have all away games, no home games. They start at San Francisco, then they travel across the country to Miami. They travel back across the country to LA, back across the country to New England, back across the country to LA, back across the country to New York, back across the country to Seattle, then Jacksonville, then Las Vegas, then Tampa Bay, then Arizona, then the Jets. Then they travel to Denver, back to Carolina, down to Dallas, up at the very top of the country with Green Bay, then down at the very bottom with New Orleans. So this is like the most travel time. I don't know what the exact number is, but we're going to see how good the Eagles can do. They have arguably the toughest schedule here. You are going to be jet lagged every single 3 seconds, no matter what. Now, I didn't do international games because I don't know. We just did, like this. Maybe I should do international games, but I want to do it just realistically speaking in one schedule. And wow, starting off 2-1. No home games either. No home games. You're going to have to play all away games. Now, of course, with this schedule being set up, we're not really focused on, the other teams around this, meaning like some teams are going to have weird records in the end because the Eagles are playing teams that are playing 2 different games in 1 week. So it's kind of janky on that front. I just want to see what their overall record is and what their stats look like. Because so far they're 7-2. So far they're actually doing pretty good. 7-3. Okay. Traveling to Arizona, now back to New York, back to Denver. Honestly, they're doing so much better than I expected. I expected them to do really bad just because of how difficult of a schedule this would be. But 10-5 is actually pretty good given the circumstances. 10-6 and now a 11-6 record. They do make the playoffs in the end. Like I said before, it's going to be a little janky because of how this is all set up. But they do make the playoffs. They end up being number 5 seed. So the Cowboys obviously win the division. Stats: Jalen Hurts, 35 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 4,400 yards. Saquon Barkley doesn't even hit 1,000 yards rushing. I'm not sure if that's a Madden thing or if that's like a season thing, because that's absolutely atrocious. So I'm going to go ahead and sim this again, and we're going to see how they do a second time. So this is our second sim. Sometimes when I do these videos, and you probably see this in my last video, that the first time you do the sim, like for some reason the team might do bad or might not do as good. When you do a second time, the team usually does a lot better. So usually like the first time it's kind of second time it can be a lot better, and sometimes we get crazy numbers. Like for example, my earlier video, Chiefs went 10-7 and then they went 15-2. So not always the case though. There's sometimes where it actually, the first sim was the good sim and the second sim is pretty dog crap. So let's just see. 17-18 and bam. All right, 12-5. So they did better this time. In the end, they did better. Who has the wonky schedule or wonky final thing? Oh, 6-11, 6-11, 8-9. I'm probably missing it, but they did end up with a 5th seed overall wise, so not the worst thing in the world. Actually, let's see the schedule here. I kind of just simmed right away, so let's look at the schedule. Team schedule, regular season. Okay. Yeah, they did a lot better than I expected in the end here. Wow. All right, let's look at the stats. How did the stats kind of show up here? 30 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Saquon Barkley, 802 yards. Not 1,000 yards rushing. I mean, obviously in real life he gets 2,000 yards, so kind of crazy. Josh Sweat, who left them, actually had a crazy Fantastic run there. So first game in the playoffs, they lose to the Detroit Lions. Lord, I am all over the place, guys. Apologize. Detroit Lions, they lose to. And now we have a Super Bowl between the Lions and the Ravens. And the survey says the Ravens win over the Lions. So there's your final. Definitely all over the place. Definitely say that. But hey, they did good in the end, given the circumstances, you know. Peace out, guys.